Roman Catholicism and its many basic errors. An excerpt from Letter 11 by Saint Sophrony of Essex to David Balfour, a then Roman Catholic, found in the book Striving for Knowledge of God. From Mount Athos, on the 3rd/16th of December, 1932, Saint Sophrony writes, I prefer in general not to speak very much about this question. I would, however, say that I would never think of considering the Catholic Church as some worldly, earthly organization. If I do, nonetheless, speak of them as worldly, I do so in comparison with what the Lord has given me to know in orthodoxy. I hope that the Lord will grant you also to recognize that they have been secularized. These worldly or human elements have penetrated the whole life of the Catholic Church. We shall not speak about this, because involuntarily we shall be drawn towards discussing what has already been discussed by many people and set out in full detail. And no doubt you have read all about it. It is stupid, when somebody is defending his own church, to accuse another one about transitory and inessential things like, for example, inadequacy in the personal life of the clergy, rituals, and such like. But in Roman Catholicism, as compared to orthodoxy, there are many basic errors, both from the dogmatic point of view as well as from the point of view of the spiritual church life. The Roman Catholic point of view about repentance and the practice of confession is not in accord with the Spirit of Christ, as I understand it, and this is connected with an incorrect vision of the work of man's redemption. There is a certain worldly, juridical approach to resolving these questions. Anomalies and even frankly crude delusions in the moral ascetic life are accepted as grace-given and taken as criteria of holiness. For example, the phenomenon of the stigmata. And at the same time, the spiritual practices of the Orthodox ascetics are trampled on, ridiculed, and repudiated. Several of the Holy Fathers who were more advanced in this noetic activity of inner prayer are treated as particularly inveterate heretics. For example, St. Gregory Palamas. You, however, will see that the noetic practice about which the Orthodox ascetic tradition teaches has existed in the Church throughout the centuries. Many of the saints of the Church in the past, up to the time of the Schism, wrote about mental prayer, and an even greater number of them put it into practice, reaching the highest degrees of states of grace attainable upon earth. Saints John Chrysostom, Gregory the Theologian, Hezekias of Jerusalem, the disciple of Gregory the Theologian at the beginning of the 5th century, who was already complaining of a diminution and forsaking of noetic work. John of the Ladder, Barsanuphius the Great, Abba Dorotheus of Gaza, and others. The elder, Father Silouan, forbids us to occupy our mind with analyzing the teachings of the Orthodox and Catholic churches and the comparison between them. He says that what is more necessary and profitable for us is to pray with a pure mind. I have departed to a certain extent from his counsel, and this was wrong of me, but I will nonetheless add that you will perhaps have the chance to become acquainted with teaching about uncreated light. I said what came to my mind, what seems to me to be more essential and little referred to by the apologists of the Church. Forgive me, dear Father David, that I cannot tell you very much, because I am not familiar enough with this issue. That is, I cannot tell you anything new. For me, the question of the churches has been definitively resolved, not, though, by means of detailed study and comparison, but by means of prayer. How much I prayed about this only the Lord knows. However, I am now wholly given to the Orthodox Church, on the level of intellectual conviction as well, but it is quite superfluous to explain this in detail.